Back when I was remodeling homes, I would constantly be dealing with the ebb and flow of leads. And, back then, if leads weren't coming in, it would feel like an eternity. And now, for the last 8 years, I've been helping other contractors manage their marketing. And so I deal with the same situation, but across hundreds of companies instead of just my own. And a lot of people watch these videos, they find the link in the description and they talk to me, and usually they're talking to me about marketing during a time where they're not getting any leads. And sometimes it's people who have pretty good lead generation going on, but they're going through a week or two dry spell and they're really freaked out about it. And so, in this day and age with AI and stuff, like I'm able to do a lot of like data analysis type stuff. I'm pretty nerdy about the numbers. And since we track, everything that happens with all of our clients' leads, I have a whole bunch of data at my disposal. And so I talked to somebody the other day about this situation. I thought, let's look into this. Let's see what this ebb and flow of lead generation actually looks like. And so one of the first things I noticed is that oftentimes we feel like our lead generation isn't working right after it's working really, really well. And so that's what this first number is like after the account's best ever week, what happens after that? And it's kind of interesting. On average, it's down about 50% for 2 weeks after you have your best week ever. And that's what this chart here. So these are all real clients. I didn't add their names on here to protect their identities, but these are all real numbers. And what's interesting is like they'll have the best 2 weeks of their lead generation career. And then the 2 weeks after that, these are the average drops, 50%, 20, this one's 70%, a couple are close to 70%. So that's the ebb and flow I'm talking about. It's like you'll have a really good month and then the next month might not be so good. And dry spells just happen. And so I looked into that. I was like, we work with a lot of clients who get a lot of leads. And so like even my marketing company Adapt, like we get leads, sometimes we'll get like 4 or 5 in a day. But then sometimes we'll go 3 or 4 days without getting any. And by day 3 or 4, you look at it and you're like, is something broken somewhere? What's going on? So we were looking at these and so this garage door company gets on average 28 leads a month. The longest gap they've ever gone is 8 days. So these guys went 8 days without getting a single phone call. Like, that's not very comfortable, is it? Lawn care, 25 leads a month, 8 days. Obviously, the fewer leads you get, the longer the gaps are going to be. There's a remodeling company where we work with doing around $3 million a year. Went 26 straight days without getting a paid lead, so that would be like through Google Ads. Kind of scary when you spend a few $1,000s and don't get any leads. And so that's why, when it rains it pours, that's a saying for a reason. And things come in waves. I think part of it sometimes is the seasonalities of people in the US, holidays, tax season's a big one. Like a lot of times leads slow down right around tax season. Definitely Thanksgiving and Christmas time, like nobody wants to do work on their home during those holidays. And even during periods where there is no kind of obvious reason, it's very common to see that. Like you'll have 4 or 5 day dry spell and then all of a sudden you'll get 3 leads that call within 2 hours of each other. And it's just, I've seen it so many times now that I know how it works. But back in the day when I didn't have that much experience with marketing, like I didn't know what was going on. It was always very uncertain, what to do. So leads arrive like rain. It's not a steady thing and everything seems to ebb and flow. Sales are the same way. One of the things I wrote down here is like the way to overcome this is to have a healthy sales pipeline, meaning you have a bunch of leads inside of your pipeline that you are working towards sales, so that you're not just hanging out waiting for the next lead to come in, but you're actually working the ones that you already had. Also, like, pay attention if you're having a dry spell right now. Pay attention to like what happened right before it. Like, maybe a lot of people just got their business out of the way last week, and those are less people this week who are calling you. And when we look back, we look over a minimum of a 3-month period. You'll often hear people say when they're talking about SEO or Google ads or things like that, it's like, give it a few months. And that's because of this. It's you have to average these numbers to figure out what it's going to be in the long term. And when you have been doing it a long time, you can look back at your averages over months or even years and kind of get an idea of where the trend's going. Like, are you getting more leads on average, less? Is it really different than years prior, or is it just kind of another year? So if it's just been a week or two, like, maybe take a deep breath, ride it out, see what next week looks like. It's probably going to be okay. If you do think you're in a really serious dry spell, feel free to hit me up. I look at businesses every day. It takes me about 10 minutes to look at a business in a market and see what's going on and see what it's going to take to beat competitors and get more customers. So find the link in the description, hit me up, talk to you for 20 minutes and see what we can uncover.